Hey guys, welcome back to the Patreon vlog. I hope you enjoyed my unnecessary flexing of green screen, blue screen skills. I say blue screen skills, it was a little bit patchy, wasn't it? But I was quite happy with it, given that I knocked that up in about 5 minutes earlier on this morning. I basically got a blue screen, finally, just because of this diorama, which you may have seen in the recent live show. This is a little 1980s, oh, I've nearly knocked it again. Got to be very careful with this, because everything in it isn't attached or fixed, so I've got to get some blue tack and stick everything down. But I bought this because it's kind of fun, and I had this plan to get a blue screen, stick it behind me, and then put me right here in the room. So the emergency situation is now over in Japan. We can actually go out and start doing things again. Just next week, I'm off to see Natsuki for the first time in 3 months since the Sapporo Snow Festival. But I'm going to be filming my journey there for a road trip video on the Abroad in Japan channel, and Natsuki is going to make a cameo at the end of the video. He's the reason we're doing the road trip, and he's the incentive for actually going and doing it. So today I'm going to be answering questions you guys have sent in, and I'm going to move that because I don't want a repeat of the destruction incident. By the end of the live show last week, it looked like a bloody earthquake had hit this diorama. Before I jump into the questions though, we seem to have got a lot of new Patreons this month. I don't even know if that's the right word. Patreon supporter, person, I don't know. No matter what you want to call it, a huge thanks guys for being a part of the Abroad in Japan Patreon. And to those of you that are new here, there's over 50 exclusive Patreon videos here on the platform that we've built up over the last few years, and I realise it can be quite difficult to actually go back and find them. So what I've done on this post is list off my top 10 favourites, from everything from how I learned Japanese in 2 years and the techniques that I used, to an inside look on how I make videos from start to finish, valuable lessons I learned amidst the chaos of making Natsuki the movie. There's a talk on the Japanese mindset, how I make thumbnails on YouTube, and even a fun little road trip Q&A from last year. Hopefully there's a lot of fun and educational stuff on there to keep you busy until the next few videos come out. In the meantime, if you could keep a count, keep a score, right? What was so surprising about the pen coming out of the pocket? No, you can't keep the pen. You cannot keep the pen. Right then, without further ado, let's dive in to the Q&A. We knew that was going to happen. What's your favourite drink? This is my favourite drink, CC Lemon. 35 lemons worth of vitamin C. What I love about CC Lemon isn't the fact it's in a bright yellow can, but whenever I read that phrase, 35 lemons worth of vitamin C, I picture a guy slowly, methodically squeezing 35 lemons into a can. Obviously, there isn't 35 lemons, it's probably just some powder, but it tastes pretty good, it's quite addictive, and actually, this is the first time I've had CC Lemon in about a year. Really good. Oh. Really good. Just tastes like sugar. Doesn't even taste like lemons, it just tastes like sugar. My second favourite drink, for entirely different reasons, is cow piss. Good old fashioned cow piss. I like it because every time I feature it in a video, the video gets an additional 150 comments from people going, ha ha ha, sounds like cow piss. Obviously, in an American accent, it sounds more like coal piss, whereas British accent, cow piss. And so it doesn't sound so nice, but it's probably the secret to my success, to be honest. Extra 150 comments, YouTube boosts it due to extra audience interaction, and you get 1 million subscribers. So that's probably the secret to my success. It's cow piss. So, do you have a favourite kanji? Rather than give you my favourite kanji character, I'll give you 3, and I'll give you a word. And my favourite word is this: shinseihin, which means brand new product. When Japanese people ask me what my favourite word is, they're always shocked and a little bit disappointed to hear it's shinseihin. And the reason is, when I learned Japanese kanji characters initially, I used this method called the Heisig method, which I've done many videos about, and I'm sure some of you have seen it, but I'll link it if you haven't. But I learned kanji characters, how to write them, and how to read them in English. So I knew this one meant new, I knew this one meant made in, as in made in a country, made in Japan, and I knew this one meant product or item. But I didn't know how to read them. And then one day when I was learning Japanese vocabulary, I learned the word shinseihin, brand new product. And I saw the 3 characters, how they were used, and I was able to read it and know what it meant just by looking at these characters. It was basically the amalgamation of learning words and learning kanji brought together by this one word. And it was just kind of exciting to see how 3 characters came together to create a word. And I think that's a terrible explanation, but I hope that makes you realise that I'm not mental. There's a reason I like new products as a word. God. Of all the times Ryotaro has tried to murder you, when has he come the closest? There's a reason Ryotaro's got a reputation for trying to have me killed. He's done some pretty dicey things over the years. But I think the closest he's come to actually threatening my life was a time we went skiing in a blizzard, like you do. Ryotaro and I have been skiing several times. The first time was quite pleasant. We did a video about a ski resort in Fukushima. It was wonderful. So when he invited me to go again, this time to a mountain about 2 hours south of Sendai called Mount Zhao, I was pretty excited. I was well up for it. That was until we drove halfway up it and found ourselves in a blizzard. And it only got worse when I discovered that we had to go in a special snow vehicle through the blizzard to get to the top of the mountain. So I haven't been able to see anything outside the windows for the last 20 minutes other than just white and blizzard. So yeah, I'm a little bit worried, to be honest. And then we were skiing not only in a blizzard, in a whiteout, where you couldn't see more than 3 or 4 metres in front of you, but we were skiing off-piste, which means there's no actual slope. You're just skiing through some snow, which I'd never ever done before, let alone in a blizzard. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit worried, given that there's almost zero visibility. This is absolutely terrifying. But if we get separated, aren't we fucked?
Well, that's why we've got a guide. Just follow the guide.
Ryotaro and I had a guide, and in the first 2 minutes of arriving at the top of the mountain, he disappeared and we didn't see him again for about an hour. So that was good. And then I was really scared I was going to get separated from Ryotaro as well, because I didn't know which direction we were going. We were going straight off a cliff for all I knew, because I couldn't see because of the whiteout. And I actually didn't film most of it because I was so terrified by it all. I kept falling off the skis into a pile of snow that was about 3 metres deep, and having to try and dig myself out. And then I got really tired really quickly, and I was really scared I was just going to get stuck there in this blizzard, lost forever in a pile of snow. Fortunately, we did eventually make our way out, and I vowed never ever to go skiing with Ryotaro again, and I haven't since. That was about 2-3 years ago now. Will the hot sauce be making any more appearances, or has it retired to a secluded island after accomplishing its mission and assassinating 2 people?
No thank you, Dub. Fucking hot sauce.
It certainly did accomplish its mission up in Sapporo. Poor Natsuki and Chiaki. I would try and give Natsuki the hot sauce again, but I fear he's learnt his lesson by now.
Fire. Ooh. Oh. He died.
Given his initial arrogance and the brutal end to his hot sauce experience. Still, I could definitely see us putting it to good use again, this time on Ryotaro, who is equally as arrogant as Natsuki at times. And I think he would try it and not realise how bad it's going to be. So yeah, maybe let's use it on Ryotaro. That could be the closest thing I get to revenge for making me ski in a blizzard. What are your favourite places for nightlife photography? The most recent time I went to Japan, I couldn't think of anything other than Shinjuku and Tokyo, and to be honest, the photos came out great. But are there any other gems you've discovered? As someone who loves nighttime photography, what I will say is Shinjuku is the best place in Tokyo, but everybody does it, so it's hard to find an original spin on it. So if you want to try somewhere a little bit different, Shimbashi is pretty cool as well. Because it's a big business district, you have a lot of salarymen wandering around late at night drinking things, so you can get some really cool shots down there. My personal favourite place is Osaka, more specifically Namba or Dotonbori near the river in the heart of the town. Osaka's just got a kind of grittier feel to it than Tokyo. Things are a little bit more dirty, chaotic, seedy. If I could spend one night doing photography anywhere in Japan, that would be it. And a last place I would say is Kobe. Actually, my favourite photo that I've ever taken was in an alleyway in Kobe, just because the atmosphere of that alleyway was intense, given all the pipes hanging above, the smoke billowing out of the nearby izakaya pub. To any photographer coming to Japan, I would say just go off the beaten track a little bit. Go to a neighbourhood like Shinjuku in Tokyo, Shimbashi, Namba in Osaka, and just start wandering down the alleyways and the back streets, and that's where the real magic happens. And hopefully that's where you'll be able to find your own original kind of perspective. Do you have any favourite temples and shrines in Japan? There's 2 temples not too far from here that I do quite like to visit. The first is Yamadera, the most famous temple, arguably, in Yamagata Prefecture. It's on the side of a mountain, and the best temples and shrines always have a kind of strong connection with nature. And to get to that, you have to climb through this kind of precarious staircase through this beautiful forest. So you have to go on a little bit of a journey to get there, but it's completely worth it for the view at the top over the valley. I liked it so much that on my original business cards, which I don't think I have anymore because I got fed up of handing out business cards, I used to have a photo of Yamadera on the back of the card, which to be fair was a bit tacky, but I liked it that much. It was that good that I put it on the back of the business card. The second one is Takoku no Iwaya Temple, which Ryotaro and I visited a few years ago when we did some meditation. We did some traditional meditation in a traditional temple, in a traditional way. And then rode on some go-karts through the countryside. Like maniacs. And then arrived at Takoku no Iwaya. And it's just so damn picturesque. It's quite small, but they've built the temple into the side of a little cliff, into the side of a rock, and it just looks quite unique, quite magical. So those two are my favourites. If you find yourself in Tohoku, definitely try and visit them both, although I'd say Yamadera is certainly more impressive and definitely my favourite of the two. So it finally happens. You have a free day. Impossible. No work, no editing, no responsibilities whatsoever. How do you spend it? I would take this blue tack and I would stick down every single item on this bloody diorama so nothing falls over every time I move it ever so slightly. Actually, no. I'll do that after the video. That'll probably take an hour. What would I do? You know what? I'm not the sort of person that enjoys sitting on a beach doing nothing. I've tried to do it many times. My idea of a day off would be doing something productive, but something that I really want to do. So in this case, I'd love to do a book about Japan, and the book would be Abroad in Japan, 8 years living in Japan, what have I done in Japan, something to do with Japan. It'd be about Japan. But it'd be a book, and I've got lots of stories and experiences, and I don't think I could write a book in a day, especially given how crap I am with a keyboard, but I could write out a plan for what that book would be about. So that's probably what I would do. Abroad in Japan. Yeah, I'll just call it that. Outside of Sendai, where else would be your #1 place to live in Japan? As far away from Ryotaro as possible. Because I've lived in the north part of Japan for the last 7-8 years now, I know everything north of Tokyo really well, like the back of my hand. Well, pretty well. I don't really know the southern half of Japan that well. I haven't explored it as much as I'd like, and there is one city that I could really see myself living in, and that is Matsuyama, which we passed through on Journey Across Japan. It's a very laid-back town. They've got some really nice traditional architecture, a castle on a mountain in the middle of the city, so you just get the most amazing view. It's next to the inland sea, it's next to some mountains. Everyone loves oranges there, so if you like oranges, brilliant. All the vitamin C you could possibly ever want. So I'd love to live there. I really would. I think Matsuyama would be quite nice. And the only thing that puts me off of living in southern Japan is the fact there's a lot more hornets, spiders, and snakes. So I don't think I'll be living there in a hurry. I think I'll just stay put in Sendai. That is all the questions for now though, folks. Thank you to everyone who sent them in. Sorry to those that didn't get them answered, but I'll be doing another Q&A next month, so don't worry, they'll probably get answered then. As for upcoming videos, we've got 2 new videos in the coming weeks. The first is 4 awkward stories from my time in Japan, just basically weird and bizarre situations I've gotten into. It's kind of a story time video, which is something don't think I've ever done. So I'm quite looking forward to that. And the second one is the Driving in Japan video featuring Natsuki. So lots of fun stuff for the next couple of weeks. Keep an eye out. But for now, guys, have a great weekend, no matter where you might be, out there in the big wide world. A huge thanks for your support. And I'm now off to blue tack the diorama down. So the next time I bump into it, I won't end up in tears. To be fair, if I can green screen myself into this room, it'll either look really cool and be a high point for the channel, or it will look terrible and it will just be really humiliating and embarrassing. What will it be? You decide. Definitely going to be the second one. Oh, fuck.
Wow.